Fog Entertainment back again with another review of Power Book 2 Season 4 Episode 2. We love Power Book, guys, and I'm a wee bit late to the party. I mean, I'm a couple of days late, alright, but you know what? The Euros are on. It's time to party, everybody, but it's time to also get into this episode. We've had some form of a time skip, and it's like we're introduced a wee bit more to Don Carter and his team here at the beginning. They're kind of not buying Tariq St. Patrick's story, and no wonder they're not buying Tariq St. Patrick's story. It's like, oh aye, there was a skill shooter and he took down the big man. What's his face? Fuck, I can't remember what his face is. Aye, Angel Junior. That's the guy's name. Junior got took down, right? Which I think's just got to beg the question of, like, we've seen in the previous episode that Tariq basically threatened this guy's life on camera in front of Norma, and it's like, surely she could just use that as leverage to get him and Brayden picked up. Anyway, ridiculous, but yeah, I mean, at least Don Carter's seeing through this. I'm liking that. I'm liking those facts. We then cut to Davis, and Davis is pretty much, you know, he's on the ropes because of his whole hearing about his able to practice law. He sleeps with his client, even though he's kind of know his client. And then it turns out his law license has been suspended, but he can't appeal it. So he's not exactly loving life, and then that's when Don Carter comes in, and he basically tries to leverage the law license in order to get Davis back on side. I mean, what I would say at this point of the episode, it's like, why wouldn't Davis give up Tariq and Brayden? Like, no, if we're actually being perfectly, I mean, it doesn't need to give him up, like, he just doesn't need to back him up. He's clearly he's clearly backing him up, which I just don't really get. To be honest, Tariq though and Brayden have got no money, they're doing all these diddy jobs, especially Tariq. He's got 3 jobs in one. Diana's still doing her diddy job, but she's got a pregnancy test. Oh, who's going to be pregnant? Then you just see them all in school, like Effie, Diana, Tariq, all in the same class. And it's like, after they'll try to kill each other, then we see Effie go to Tariq and saying, oh, are we all good? I should have texted you about Kate. Are we all good? You fucking gave Tariq up in the season 3 finale. No wonder he says, no, we're not good. No, what does that stupid bitch think she's going to get for that, man? I actually find that fucking laughable, that scene. Fucking hate Effie as a character. She then meets with the Russians in order to get them in with Norma, but then Monet finally decides to get up. She took a pill. Get a couple of flashbacks this episode with her, like in her early days with Lorenzo, and apparently there's a lot of talk that Kaden could actually be Kane's father, which would be interesting to say the least. You know, you can't really deny that. It would absolutely be interesting. Monet, after getting back for that wild night out, kind of referring to the fact that maybe Kane's the one that shot her, which I think is a ridiculous thing to think. Obviously we knew it was Drew and Diana that put that shit in motion. So again, don't really understand where Monet's clocked that one from, because Kane said, like, you're not fit to lead, mum, the streets are different. No, you've got half a point there, Kane. Half a point, absolutely. Then you've also got Tariq, obviously Carter confronted him, basically says, I know who you are, you're your father's son, yada yada yada, and your mother's one step away from you being removed from Witsec, so that forces Tariq to go see Tasha. Will that play into Don Carter's hands? We will have to wait and see. But again, the scene with Effie going to the Russians, it's like, here you have this black girl from the hood going into a Russian bar. It just looked so out of fucking place, it really did. You know, like, come on. It wasn't exactly woke, but it's like, I'm surprised when she's going in. It's just like, we're not threatening the guy's door, we're kind of like, yeah, I'm a good hacker and I can do anything you want as long as you meet with Norman. And that's always where the whole Monet thing happens. Then we see Kane, he's moving stuff as well. But what's going to happen with Kane is the real question. Is he going to find out? Could his real father be Kanan? Could Monet and Lorenzo, those two like their versions of themselves in the flashback, could they end up appearing in Raising Kanan? I mean, possibly, but I think they're a bit younger than Kanan to appear. But we'll have to wait and see with the timeline, to be fair. Tariq then proceeds to beating up the guy who pretty much put his hands on Tasha. I mean, I'm not saying he didn't, but some people just are very touchy-feely with his hands. But you know what? A boy protecting his mother breaks his fingers. Then on the way back, His car breaks down. He phones Brayden. These two pretty much agree that they're going to start selling drugs again, but there's going to be one more step along the way. What will that be? Only time will tell, I guess, very soon. Bada boom, bada bing. Realest guys in the room. What they're going to do? We'll get to that a wee bit later on. Kane and Effie then come to an agreement to essentially sell the Russians the guns and the product. Kane is then confronted by Noma about this. She's about to kill him, and then literally, like, out of nowhere, he basically predicts what she's going to say next, and then that gets her to stop killing him. Sends Obi out of there, and then she has a drink with Kane, and it's like, oh, we're all one big happy family. Anyway, I just don't really understand. Like, there's just a lot of plot armor floating about at the end of the day, isn't there? So pretty much what happens next is that Tariq's master plan is to get his baby back, and you're like, what's his baby? It turns out his baby is his car. I believe this is a Porsche. Looks like a wee Porsche, cheeky wee Porsche 911, or some version of that or whatever. So him and Brayden, they head down, they follow 2-Bit. 2-Bit then goes into a vegan Korean restaurant. And it's like, well, maybe the guy just wants to save the fucking planet. It's like, really? This just doesn't seem like 2-Bit whatsoever. Almost seems like it's a bit woke just to force his character into this. But I really hope this ain't the last we see of 2-Bit. So essentially, Tariq's got the spare key, jumps in it, and steals it. What's he going to do with this? Is he going to sell the car and get money that way? I think that must be what he's going to do. And then obviously he's going to try and attempt to buy product with it. Because I don't really understand why would keep the car. You may as well just have a shit car, make money off the good car till you've got enough money to buy a good car again. So I think that's going to be the game plan here from Tariq and Co. But it was a pretty funny scene. 2-Bit runs out. It's like, yo, you're stealing my fucking car, man. But again, it's like, is that the end game there? Are we not going to see 2-Bit again in this series? I'd be disappointed if they killed 2-Bit off. I do like the fact that you've got all these characters floating about with all these like different scenarios and all that good stuff, but here is what it is, and 2-Bit gets his car absolutely stolen. We then, of course, have Obi. He's walking out in the street. Noma told him to basically piss off, and then essentially she's like, all right, Kane, me and you are going to drink some scotch, but outside, Detective Don Carter confronts Obi and arrests him for some questioning. Is he going to give up Tariq? We'll probably find out in the next episode. Speaking of Tariq, he goes to talk with Monet. She's like, well, I know you're not the one that shot me. That's what my kids are saying. And then it's all about Kate Egan. Who told Kate Egan? But obviously, we know it was Diana that said to Kate Egan about it, but she was portraying herself as Monet. So that's the confusing part for pretty much every character in here. So essentially what they've came down on here is who's going to kill the person that told Kate Egan. And obviously that's Diana. But could this bring Tommy back into play? I think if this does bring Tommy back into play, they need to correctly overlap these two series between Ghost and Force, because Tommy's made a few appearances now in Power Book 2, but in Power Book 4 there's been no reference of when he's left or whatever. And I think, when you've got these timelines, I think you need to work on that and make a bit more sense. Anyway, that's just my opinion. But I mean, this episode was alright, but I still think I'll give it a 6 out of 10. I mean, there was a lot happening, but not an awful lot of substance, if you catch my drift. So, aye. Peace.